Sisters of the shining moon, heaven, earth, and sea, I call upon you in the new hour, so bring magic unto me. Brothers, oh, the cauldron cries, it singeth unto me, the songs of Mother Goddess and the Father in the tree.
Hello, my lovelies. This is Paisley Wild, and we are off adventuring into the spaces between. We're being broadcast live tonight on Truth Frequency Radio, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, and TalkStream Live. And if you're in on YouTube, hello, YouTube world. Make sure you hit that like button. That's the thumbs up. And subscribe and the bell for alerts and all that jazz. So, yeah, check it all out. And no matter how you are hearing me, drop in and say hello in one of the chat rooms. Or you can shoot me an email at wildpaisley@gmail.com. That's WILDEPAISLEY@gmail.com. And if you want to support the show, you can do so by going to etsy.com/shop/Monarch Mountain Studio. Or you can also go to patreon.com/TheSpacesBetween. And then let's see, go to iLife.com. iLife is the official sponsor for Truth Frequency Radio. In our world right now, we need all the help we can get, guys. So yeah, iLife.com. And call line is open tonight. Yep, I did not break it. So that number is 213-233-3998. Or if you're across the pond in the UK, it is 44203-393-2871. And hey, Brent, how's it going? So Don will not be on this evening. For those of you who joined us last night, you saw that Don was doing a Rocky impersonation and stuff, and it looked like he'd been, blindsided at one point, and had the only thing that he had missing from the black eye was the black. Well, he went to the doctor. He's got pink eye and some other stuff, and the medication he's got going on, he's just, I am assuming he's gone that night, just like Mini-Me. So, yeah, yeah, it looks horrible. It really, truly does. Poor guy. So I am flying solo tonight. Well, except for drama. I've got the cat, and she's like needy. So if I'm distracted, it's because the cat keeps stealing the mouse. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, Don should bounce back pretty quick. They gave him, he went to the urgent care and got some stuff for his eyeball to calm it down. And so, yeah. Hopefully he'll heal quick. Yes. Let's see. So, tonight, got a couple different things I wanted to kind of get into. But mostly, so I got an article alert this morning from Pathos.com, just talking about 22 major archetypes within paganism. And you know what? they made me giggle a lot. A lot. So, instead of reading the entire article, I stopped partway through and it's like, nope, I'm just going to talk about it tonight and everybody can enjoy it with me. So, yes. Let's see. So, unfortunately, I don't generally do readings live on air, mostly because that's not in my wheelhouse. If you do, 76, want a reading, you can shoot me an email at wildpaisley@gmail.com. Or there are a couple folks within the chat room that do readings. So if you want to, point yourselves out and say hello, that'd be great. But and when Deb is in the chat room, she does readings, and she's freaking awesome. So, yeah. She really, really is just freaking awesome. That's all there is to it. So, archetypes, what are they? Well, an archetype is a very typical example of a person or a thing. So it's a recurrent symbol or motif in literature, art, or mythology. And in this instance, archetype kind of falls into the literature or art, mythology, yeah, anything like that. Yeah, so it's a stereotype, basically. So, we're talking about stereotypes. And, Carl Jung, or Jung, depending on how you want to pronounce it, came up with a couple of different archetypes. There's 12 that he has established. And I'm just going to go over them real quick, and then I'll get to the article. Or maybe I'll go to the article first. Well, I'll list them, and then I'll go to the article. So, the Jungian archetypes are the ruler, the creator or artist, the sage, the innocent, the explorer, rebel, hero, wizard, jester, everyman, lover, and caregiver. 76, that is absolutely not in my wheelhouse. I would reach out to Brent Thomas at Paranormal Portal. He has some really good connections as far as finding someone to help you determine that, and if you are, how to help you or intervene with and give you the direction that you might need. That would be my best advice. 100%, because I'm not the right person for that. So yeah, archetypes are just the real basic stereotypes. And as I went through that list, if you've ever played Dungeons and Dragons or any other role-playing type game, that may have resounded with you, like the wizard, the hero, the explorer, the sage, the ruler, that kind of thing. And there's a lot of connection there, because there's some basic archetypes that are common, and there's also shadow archetypes. So later I will talk about those too. But I figured I'd just go over this article because yes, it did make me giggle just a bit. And the article, or the author for this particular article, is Katrina Rasbold, and she's an author as well, and she did some stuff for tarot, and she's just kind of an interesting author just to read. But she says she's seen quite a few of these archetypes manifest with very profound predictability. And when the embodiment of one archetype leaves a group, just like a Pez dispenser, a replacement appears. So some of these people are going to, they'll make sense to you. And if you are pagan or a witch or, in the esoteric realm, even, well, maybe not, just in day-to-day life, I bet you're going to, some of these are going to really resound with you, and some of them will make you giggle. It's just an interesting thing. So the first one that she talks about is the creeper. So the creeper can be of any gender or sexual orientation. However, to be ageist, she has found that they're generally in the baby boomer generation. Personally, no, it's not just that generation. It's pretty much anybody, yeah. But they come from a time when paganism intermingled with the hippie free love movement and are locked into the notion that all people they encounter are receptive to and excited for their sexual advances. They rarely honor boundaries or stated affinities. They hug just a little too long. They sometimes make guttural moaning sounds as they hug, that type noise. You've heard it. They make unwanted sexual remarks and insist that anyone who objects is sexually repressed, and in turn is attempting to sexually repress them. Yeah. The creeper is always the one who has a leer on their face when anyone mentions working skyclad. They frequently show signs of arousal during a ritual and are quite proud of it. And any mention of consent is often rebuffed or even ridiculed. And to be clear, according to the author, sex and sexuality are not creepy. And sex and sexuality and ritual are not creepy. It's the people that are creepy. And if you've ever been to like a Renaissance fair or even just a fair, there's always a vendor of some sort that you're like, just don't go over there without a friend. Do the buddy system. Yeah. So we've all met this person in one way, shape, or another. Often, it may be your coworker has that creeper mentality, and you're like, just go away. I don't want to be around you. Yeah, they're the ones who cause lawsuits, guys and gals. Because it isn't just any particular gender or age group or anything. It happens. The second one is the martyr. So at any event, no matter how large or small, the martyr does most of the work. And how do we know this? They'll tell you. So even though we love and appreciate the martyr, because without them, the events just would not happen, the martyr picks up the balls that the others drop and does their own work as well. The work is significant because they agree to do jobs other people reject and take on a workload that often edges beyond their resentment boundary. The martyr arrives early and stays late. I've seen this one. Unfortunately, the martyr can burn out quickly if their behavior is unchecked. Help your martyrs. Make them stop. Don't be the sloth who lets someone else do their jobs for them. So yeah, this one, we've all met that person, the martyr, the one who does or says that they do most of the work, and whine and complain about it the entire time. Unfortunately, it's like, hey, you did a great job. It's like, oh yeah, I wish I had some help, and I'm just the only one, and I sacrificed this and that, and we've all heard them. And it's vexing and frustrating. And after a while, you just want to tell them to shush. So, yeah. Number 3 is the dormouse. So the dormouse always has a perfectly legitimate reason for why they've missed the majority of the planning meetings for any particular event. Ultimately, they rush in late and then have an opinion or plan for anything that comes up. They ask questions that were covered in the meeting and put into the minutes that were uploaded to the planning group weeks prior. And question board decisions made long ago. Why? Well, because they had really good reasons for why they missed all of the planning meetings, so they don't know what's going on. So the dormouse basically wakes up at the tea party, says nonsensical, irrelevant, and obsolete things, and then goes right back to sleep again. Yeah. We've all encountered these people. Because, yeah. It's the person who thinks they know what's going on, but they really, really, really don't. Yeah, they just don't. And they kind of stir the pot just a bit. So number 4 is the peacemaker. Whenever friction arises, as it is bound to do so, when so many different personality types unite to try to do something, the peacemaker steps up. This person abhors conflict and will initiate peacemaking efforts before anyone has effectively processed their feelings, and then will wail, "Can't we all just get along?" while posting plaintive, vague book remarks about how sad it is that the pagan community is broken. Yeah, the pagan community isn't broken. It, it really isn't. But there is quite a few people out there who just aren't part of the, suck it up and get along group at all. At all, yeah. So improperly aspected by the cards around it, the peacemaker is a valuable mediation tool. However, when poorly aspected, it's a pain in the ass person. Yeah. Who believes enlightened people should be above human emotion and reaction when they're wronged. And this form of the peacemaker often runs out of cheeks to turn and expects everyone else to do so as well. So, tonight, guys, there may be some verbiage that is not completely clean, but that's okay. Yes. So, number 5 is the vampire. So the vampire sucks all of the energy right out of a situation and all of the air out of the room. In a classroom environment, the vampire makes the class all about them. In a ritual, the vampire absorbs the energy of the circle instead of moving it through them and passing it on to the next person. And this archetype rarely contributes to the work of any event, instead shows up to avail themselves of whatever they can get from it, especially in the form of energy, attention, and free stuff. Yeah, And they will be the one clearing the potluck table into their own bags and taking the extra class materials and supplies for themselves. They have little ability to look beyond their own interests and rarely notice the impact their behavior has on others. When people engage the vampire, they come away feeling exhausted. Yeah, you really do. Yes. And approximately 1/3 to 1/4 of the way through the encounter will pray that someone passes by and rescues them and giving them a reasonable avenue of escape. Yeah. We've all encountered this vampire, and we all just want to throttle them. We know who they are, and yeah, we're done with them. So the New Ager is number 6. This one actually really made me giggle because I know these people. I've met them. So a New Ager is all love and light, rainbow therapy, Reiki, wheatgrass, and namaste. They have very little interest in actual spell work or rituals, and while some do identify as pagan, their primary discussion focuses on their intensely magical starseed indigo child. Oy. Starseed indigo child. I've heard this one a lot, and yeah, it drives me nuts. You just have a child. Just like everybody else. Period. And their last visit to the upstate soul cleansing retreat, because, that retreat was fabulous. I've seen that one too. And their last visit to the, and the Stargate, their church is funding to transport them to the galaxy du jour. So basically, yeah. They've got, the instant, thing that's going to make everything better. Yeah. And they do not suffer skeptics lightly at all. And the New Ager is an interesting archetype, to be sure, and their areas of expertise lend texture to conversations. They may attend pagan functions to feel energy and socialize. They may actually delve deeply into the culture and ritual of paganism, but generally speaking, no. They just don't. All right. So, Strangeland. For those of you who are new to the show, yeah, if a question pops up in the chat room, I do try to stop and answer it. So I do. Yeah, energy vampires. Yeah, unfortunately, they're everywhere. Just gotta protect yourself, guys. Remember, wash your hands. If you encounter someone like that and they're just sucking the life out of you, take a break, go to the bathroom, wash your hands. cleanse that energy from you, that attachment, and move on with your life. So, Strangeland asks, do we have guides or angels in human form on Earth? Oh, yes, we have guides, without a doubt. Angels? Possibly. But I 100%, I firmly believe in spirit guides. If we didn't have them, yeah, it would be harder. Life would be harder. Aussie asks, a not necessarily pagan question, but a very good question is, if someone doesn't know what love feels like, then how do we know that they've never felt love before? You know, that's a really, really good question. Because there are quite a few people out there who have never really encountered a loving relationship with another person. Whether, regardless of what their home life was growing up, if they even had one. And, sometimes, encountering people as adults can be just as much jerks as kids. That's where kids learn it. And what do you do? So if they, how do you know what love feels like? For me, love is like sunshine on your face. The warm, fuzzy feelings that you get with brand new socks. Fuzzy socks are awesome. Or warm towels. That's a very tangible thing for me. A little bit different, I suppose. But love is, being there for someone else. And it's not necessarily the family that you were born into. Often it's the family you choose. It's the people who are there for you. If you've ever had a dog or a cat or an animal, it's when the your pet chooses to sit on your lap and cuddle with you. That's love, and sometimes that's where we start, and then we have to grow from there. Yeah, I don't know if that really helps, Aussie, but yeah, it's complicated. I'm not the right person to talk to for this either, probably. I'm not very helpful tonight. But yeah, yeah, I think closest would be, your pet chooses to cuddle with you. I have a boxer. She likes to flop on me. I am not as excited about that as she is, but she does that deep sigh, and she's content to just lay right there, even though my feet are going to sleep. But I guess it's love if I just lay there and let my feet go to sleep, so she can cuddle and be content and snuggled up. So yeah, that's a deep question with a deep answer. But yeah, there's different types. Yeah, guides and angels all around. Let's see. Let's just read in the chats real quick, catching up. Because yes, I need to. Oh, Bummer says everyone is a villain in someone else's life, and the opposite is true too. Everyone is an angel to someone. Yes. That is very true as well. Everybody out there is a villain to somebody else. And it's just through the perspective or the lens of experience that person is going through or dealing with. It's their life. So just like if you go to the store and you try on different glasses, right, like sunglasses, different shapes, different sizes, different colors, different et cetera. And people view the world around them through those different lenses, very, very, very much like that. And often, the villain or the person that is the antagonist in their story is a protagonist in somebody else's story, and or life in general. And I can say that about my own family. people who are an antagonist to another person in the family may be a protagonist to other people in the family. And it's frustrating because those who are sitting outside of that particular interaction, it's like, why are you treating this like an antagonistic experience? They're just there. It's like being mad at the tree for growing in the forest. They're just there. That's where they're supposed to be. But sometimes, I guess maybe that's antagonistic. And yeah, I'll say just for me, it's warm and fuzzy. But also, just again thinking of my own family, especially growing up, is those that you would assume would love you the most and care for you the most have also the ability to hurt you the most, because those are the people you feel that you shouldn't have to have your barriers up, your walls up around. And so it's easier for them to say or do things that hurt you. And it's unfortunate, but it happens. I can think of things that my kids have said that to them, they just said things, especially in teenagers, and I was like, oh my gosh, that just hurt. You're just carving my heart out with a spoon. And but if a stranger had said those very same things, it wouldn't have hurt as much. And it's because, I love my kids. So yeah, they say love is a double-edged sword. Yeah, it is. It can hurt a lot, but it can reward you a lot as well. Let's break. We'll be right back. Oh my stars, that came quick. So we'll see you in a few.
Sweet will, so mote it be the spell forever done.
Songs of love and love
Hello, my lovelies. This is Paisley Wild, and we are off adventuring into the spaces between. Getting a little deep just before break, because, yeah, that happens. And that's okay. Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes we do get a little deep. So it's one of the things I do really, 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 really like about my show here and being able to talk to you guys and seeing what's all going on in the chat rooms. Good night, Strangeland. And, we interact and I see what's going on. And if you have questions, I love being able to answer them. Sometimes it's like, I don't have an answer and I write it down and it's like, I'll come back to it later. I promise. I'll see. Hugs, man. It will happen. Generally, when you're not looking for it, it'll sneak up on you, and you'll be surprised. Because that's kind of what happens. But sometimes we get a little bit deep, and it's okay. Other times, we make Don laugh uproariously until he... I have to turn the microphone off because he's laughing so hard. Not tonight because he's sleeping, but So, we are talking about archetypes in general, and we are at number 7. Number 7 is the stranger. So the stranger is someone who shows up in a community and exhibits an unearned level of entitlement, quickly attempting to assert authority, expecting to be treated as an elder, and basically jumps the line. The challenge is that no one knows who this person is, and everyone wonders how they came into prominence in the community when we were not looking. And they're like, wait, who are you again? And I thought they were with you. Well, no, I thought they were with you, kind of a conversation. And those are very common reactions to the stranger. The stranger was never at a festival, emptying trash cans, selling raffle tickets, or setting up booths. They just appeared and demanded a seat at the table with others who have paid their dues in the community. And the stranger has an unconfirmable, impressive, to the point of suspect lineage, and speaks with great knowledge of their chosen field until you listen more closely, and then you find they're just full of bull pucky. And their capacity for bullshite is seemingly endless, and they have a knack for identifying what a person or group needs most, and then ingratiating themselves into prominence by providing that very quality. Yeah. Eventually, the stranger is exposed as a fraud, mostly because they cannot sustain the image they seek to create. And then they move on to other locations to start again. Often the stranger is very much a narcissist. Not always, but often. And we've met this person. They show up. I've seen them at school functions. I've seen them at athletic activities. I've seen them when I was trying really, really hard to conform to my family's expectations and be a Christian. I saw them there. Oi. I work in a rock and crystal shop. I see them come in there too. And it's like, you know what? People. Yeah. So, it, we've all encountered the stranger, the know-it-all narcissist. So this one actually made me giggle a lot. So the next one is the witch-splainer. So, of the archetypes, the witch-splainer is the easiest to identify due to their predictable mating call of starting sentences with the words, well, actually. And the witch-splainer knows the proper way to pronounce athame, so leviosa, and rushes to correct any perceived errors, and is the keeper of the right way and the wrong way, and from the proper management and distribution of cakes and ale to the order that the candles are lit, from the true origins of the Sabbath to names and details of altar arrangements, the witch-splainer knows it all. This particular archetype speaks with authority about details they did not witness, and facts they can never prove. And before engaging the witch splainer, make certain of all your academic citations are in order and never speculate. The witch splainer is badly aspected when faced with concepts such as faith and intuitive working. Yes, we've met this person. Witch splainer. Oh my goodness. So, so yeah. It's oh. Mhm. Yeah. I've met this person. Yeah, and it's not just in the pagan world. Again, in the athletic world, in the business world, in the marketing world. Oh goodness, yeah. There's a lot. These people, they are everywhere and they reproduce, and I don't understand how that happens. And it's vexing, and yeah. Yeah. So, number 9 is the drama witch, and is also known as the shite stirrer. And the drama witch is a very common nomenclature, and this particular archetype is always at the center of conflict, and the sky is always falling. And it's their main theme. Yeah. The sky is falling. They are restless and bored in times of peaceful comfort, and if no drama presents, they will make one up or dig up an old one. And the drama witch tucks away bits of information for future aces to play in the poker tournament of conversation. Above all, this particular person thrives on discord and fear, living in a near constant state of aroused anxiety and a feral need for the stimulation of battle. From a leader perspective, the drama witch is the most difficult to effectively manage, or kindly manage for that matter. And you know what? If you have a leader that is a drama witch, I'm sorry. That's hard. And we've all had bosses that are like this. Yeah. And it's the bosses, supervisors, coworkers, the drama witch. Because, yeah, this guy's always falling. I've seen it here locally in some of my circles that I work within, the groups of people that I know, and it's like there's always someone that just everything's going sideways all the time. And about the time they stagger from one disaster and you think they're going to be recovering, suddenly they're not, and they're staggering into the next disaster. And it's like, would you just sit your butt down and stop? But they thrive on that chaos and that chaotic energy, and it's just, bleh. They're exhausting to be around. They're even more exhausting to just try to manage. Yeah. Yeah. So number 10 is the talker. The talker has a comment, question, correction, or addition for any conversation that ever exists in the history of human speech. So if you ask someone to share their experiences in a ritual, the talker, of course, will share first, longest, maybe even multiple times, because it's all about them. And in a group setting, you'll find yourself leaving space for the talker to interject because you know it's going to happen. Oh gosh, yes you do. And the talker has the final word, the longest anecdote, and the personal story is locked, loaded for any situation. And the talker often spends a lot of time with the witch splainer. And again, if you ever had to go to a business meeting, you know there's a talker. Mm-hmm. Deep cleansing breath. Or, yeah. Or, a workshop of any kind. Training session of, like a group, training session where, hey, all your peers are supposed to get together and you're all supposed to learn about something. Mm-hmm. And there's always, that one person out there that just, it's, yeah. They've always got the bigger problem. No matter what's happened to you, theirs is always bigger. Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. Number 11 is the drunk. This particular archetype includes alcohol in all rituals and group gatherings. Their behavior often influences the course of events, with directors creating an action plan for the inevitable management of the drunk's behavior. Interventions usually have no effect, and accountability is slim to none with this particular archetype. And like the frog boiling in the saucepan, the group often thinks using explanations provided by the drunk themselves for excusing their behavior. They're not too plastered to leave the ritual. They are working on a higher level right now. They are not passed out on a recliner. They are resting up for evening festivities because they ran too much energy in preparation for the night. Alcohol can be a great social and spiritual addition to a ritual or a social gathering, right up until it's not. Often, I haven't seen this very much in ritual work just because, generally speaking, we don't have this problem. But I've seen it in family get-togethers or in social get-togethers where you're work get-togethers. Oh, my stars. Yeah, if there's going to be an open bar, there's going to be, you know who it is. It's that person who's going to be drinking too much free booze, and they get louder and noisier and more obnoxious, and yeah, you just kind of can't take it anymore. Yeah. Yeah. I've met all of these people, which is sad. And I'm not sure what this is about me. We have to ask that question after I'm all done with the whole article, guys. So, number 12 is the pot fairy, also known as the cannabitch. And the interpretation is identical. The pot fairy is, yeah. The pot fairy always knows where to go to get the pot. Likely has pot in many forms at any particular moment. Might even smell like pot. And the biggest difference between the cannabitch and the drunk is that the pot fairy rarely imbibes to the point of incapacitation or disruption. They may be really, really goofy, though, and we've met those too. Often, the pot fairy is also the herbologist. And so, many pot fairies are also herbologists. But not all herbologists are pot fairies. And the pot fairy is well aspected when placed in charge of the group potluck, and any activity requiring weight or measures, especially the conversion of grams to ounces. Yeah, cannabitch. Yeah, we've all met some of them, Chris. And yeah, alcohol. I just don't know. Marie. Deep cleanse your breath, my dear. And giggle about the cannabitch. Yeah. Sorry, these made me giggle because I've met these people. So number 13 is the name dropper. So like chocolate chips in a Toll House cookie, the name dropper's conversation is liberally seasoned with the mention of star encounters with big name pagans. The name dropper knows them all and has broken bread with all of them and likely drinks 40s on the counter with them every Saturday night. The name dropper is the fifth beetle of the pagan world and will gladly tell you all about it many times over. So, the fifth beetle. Oh my goodness. But yeah, I haven't really encountered the name dropper too much, although some, I suppose. More online rather than face to face. And that's, if you're in any one of the many social media groups out there that are, Pagan or witch focused. Yeah, it's like, oh, well, I always read this book and that book, and it's been autographed by so and so and this, and yeah. But I hope I stay enough like I am right now that, to drop my particular name is like, so what? I'm just me, man. That's it. That's all. The next one is the Goth Kid. So despite their best efforts, the Goth Kid brings mirth and lightness to pagan events. The Goth Kid reminds us to express our inner selves in the most obvious of ways, which is a lesson some of us oldsters occasionally need to, as we feel the urge to isolate. Um, the goth kid is the deepest manifestation of our inner child flying high on freedom and shadow immersion. We love you, goth kid. Don't ever change. So yeah, especially with the whole COVID mess that we've had to deal with this year, I got to tell you, the urge to isolate is huge. 76. This list was made or written by Katrina Rasbold, and it's from pathos.com. And I just found them giggly and amusing. So yes, that's why we're talking about them. That's all there is to it. Number 15 is the Witch Police. So, like the 5 and 7 of Swords in a very traditional tarot deck, the Witch Police and the Witch Splainer are easy to confuse. The Witch Splainer is verbal and instructional from an ego perspective, while the Witch Police is the embodiment of to protect and to serve. They show us the smoke detectors before the smoke detectors start screaming. From sage smoke, they remind the drunk that we need a license to sell the booze. The Witch Police starts their party of any gathering with, I hate to bring this up and rain on the parade, but... and event planning, the Witch Police is the voice of reason, reminding the board of directors about things like noise restrictions, variances, health codes, that kind of thing, which is good. And they're also the energetic equivalent to the kid who raises their hand to remind the teacher they forgot to sign the homework. They're the reason we know our insurance will not allow us to have bounce houses at festivals. And like any governing force, this particular archetype is extremely important and a necessary wet blanket occasionally on our fort building, slip and slide managing, and axe throwing ideas. So, yeah. It's the voice of reason sometimes. So, yeah. So, the next one is the Reluctant. We were probably half in and half out of the pagan world at one time or another, unless we were born to it. Even then, we may have slipped away to try other spiritual experience. The Reluctant remains between the worlds and never advances completely to one or the other. They're not just in the broom closet, but they're so far into the broom closet they found the old dustpan we lost. The Reluctant clings tightly to the as it harms none mantra to reassure themselves that they are not doing anything wrong or evil by going to a pagan event. This particular archetype aspects beautifully to the New Ager and feels very safe with them. They find the goth kid amusing, but secretly hope their own children do not take up this lifestyle. Whatever you do, don't take their picture to any group. Yeah. I've met these people too. They say they're pagan, but they're not. But they are, but they're not. Yeah. Mm-hmm. The next one is the Activist, and without the Activist, nothing changes, nothing grows. We do have to have some activism in our life. We really, really, truly do. The Activist is a passionate, fearless, and self-sacrificing individual. Well aspected by surrounding cards, the Activist is a motivating force for change and progress. Poorly aspected, the Activist is critical and demoralizing, convinced that anyone with an opposing opinion is stupid and wrong, and willing to pound that point home without hesitation. At best, the Activist inspires and leads by example, encouraging us to find our voices and stand up for what we feel is right. At worst, the Activist is a bully and just doesn't know when to stop. And sometimes you gotta tell him to stop. Yeah. So... the next one, number 18, is the Slut Puppy. I don't know where this person came up with these names. Oh my stars. Yes, 76, you're absolutely right. That is the writer. So the Slut Puppy is very different from the Creeper. Both are sexual archetypes. But the Creeper's advances are usually uncomfortable and unwelcome. The Slut Puppy's attentions are fun and expected. The Slut Puppy may have had sex with, many group acquaintances and will have sex with more than one of them if allowed to do so. This archetype is not working from a notch on the bedpost, objectifying perspective, but from a, wee, sex is fun approach. I've met these people too. When rejected, the slut puppy may be confused and slightly pouty, but this person does not push the issue, and consent is a policy they greatly understand and honor. Show them a green light, however, and it's game on. Note: you know you are becoming a crone when the slut puppy uses parental terms of endearment like mom or dad for you. It does not even try to make a pass. Go home, lick your wounds just like you did the first time you didn't get carded when you bought alcohol. Oh, goodness gracious. That's actually kind of funny. Yeah, because I've been called mom on more than one occasion. Oh, sigh. The victim. This is not just a victim, but the victim, and we all know them. The perennial victim always has a new woe, a new enemy who is after them, or a new joy that has been squelched. The victim defines themselves by their hardships and will usually compound this identity with a position of helplessness and hopelessness. Life is something that is done to them, not for them. They may attribute their maladies to bad karma, ill will, or the screw-ups of others, but rarely will any accountability fall to the victim themselves. And by the way, I will put the link to this article in the show notes, guys. That way you can laugh at it too. The victim makes any ritual work a crusade for giving them more energy to change their situation. Unfortunately, since they're using group energy rather than making life changes to support the desired outcome, they become an endless pit of despair and longing, which may bring them dangerously close to the vampire. Count how many times you hear the tale of their current struggles. This may cause you to confuse them with the talker. Yeah. The next one, number 20, is the knuckle dragger. Since straight males are not the dominant force in paganism, this archetype is the rarest of all, but it still manages to manifest for nearly every group. The knuckle dragger is not always a straight male, but most knuckle draggers are. In fact, they will so often remind you that they are straight males that you begin to think they perhaps protest a little too much. Knuckle dragger is a full-on pagan, but simultaneously endorses philosophies that are counter-indicated for most pagan groups, such as those that malign women and non-straight identifying people and or encourage violent responses to opposition. Sometimes, citing historical or ancestral entitlement to such behaviors, the knuckle dragger often over-justifies their behavior with comments like, "What do you mean? Some of my best friends are gay." I hate that one. Don't say that. Or, "I don't really care if people don't like how I think. That's just how I am." That's not okay either. No. Yeah, exactly. Victimize and victim are two entirely different things. Naysay is 100% correct. If you give the knuckle dragger heavy things to carry and make sure a strong female presence is up against them, by all means do not situate the knuckle dragger next to the reluctant or the goth kid. They will do exceptionally well next to the drunk. Or for fun, put them by the witch police, the activist, or the witch splinter. How rough do you want your night to go? Just be careful. It's kind of like, creating a seating arrangement for any kind of social group. I don't know if you've ever volunteered for like a fundraiser or anything like that, but sometimes you do have to have, name cards where, hey, you're going to sit here and you're going to sit here, that kind of a thing. Yeah, sometimes you really have to balance the scale with who's going where. Boy. The Reconstructionist is the next one on the list. Make no mistake, the Reconstructionists are great. They really are, 100%, because they bring history to life, basically. But, a Reconstructionist spiritual paths, kind of like Druidism, are rife with an energetic power flow. And as a group, Reconstructionists are fascinating and empowering. Separately, and as individuals, however, there are some wince-worthy moments, kind of like the guy who starts speaking with a bad British accent as soon as they call the quarters. Or here is Dale, the guy who bags my groceries at Save Mart, who I know for a fact was born and raised in Bakersfield, suddenly sounding like Dick Van Dyke and Mary Poppins when he's summoning air. I've met those two people, too. He's not at rituals to honor the turning of the wheel. He's at the Ren Fair. He goes to every 6 weeks. So the Reconstructionist makes us look and feel foolish unless they truly are channeling the ghost of Stuart Farrar. In that case, Carrie Dale, you're way too legit to quit. So, and yeah, this is quite the party we're going to here. Let's see if I can get through this last one. So number 22 is the Angry Witch. It's a combination of the victim and the drama witch. And is he up a level up for both of them? This particular archetype rarely has a genuinely happy moment. They're angry about how their parents raised them, angry about the long list of adversaries that and the way they've been treated and where they are, and upset when someone else gets ahead, and they get they're just bitter, angry when someone else, anything goes wrong. The angry witch loses the ability to revel in joy or release when it no longer serves them. Their rage is their fuel, and it infiltrates nearly every interaction. Often the perceived egos are based with the angry witch feeling they do not receive the respect they deserve. So yeah, don't be angry. We'll be right back, and you know what? We're going to cleanse with the singing bowl. Hello, my lovelies. How you doing? So, I owe y'all some singing bowl time. And apparently my light bulb burned out, which is weird. That's great. I thumped it with the mallet. Oh, yeah. That makes me feel good. Yeah. All right. So, singing bowl time. Microphone's on. Yep, you can all hear it good. We need a lot of cleansing tonight. It's been a rough week. Oh, yes. Ringing the bell. Ringing the bowl. Yeah. Need all the cleansing we can get. I don't know about y'all, but yeah. It's been just a long week. And yeah, I'm really glad that I'm no longer in that week and I can move on to the next one. So looking forward ahead to the new year and stuff. Yeah, it's I don't know. We've got what November and December to get through, and then what is it? New Year's is gonna be New Year's on a weekend tonight or this year, or I don't remember. Yes, no. So the 31st, New Year's Eve, is on a Thursday. Yeah, I'm not gonna do a live show. No, not on New Year's Eve. I was thinking about it, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to, by golly, make sure that, make sure that the year calendar changes over, because yeah, I did. I am really so. If you want to set your intentions and everything, and put it out there, yeah, we do not want 2020 2.0. Period. So, Chris, you're hilarious. So Chris Jarvis says, someday your dishes are all going to be dirty. You're going to come home and find Don eating ice cream out of my singing bowl. Yes. That is awesome. Yeah. No, this is my bowl and he cannot use it for that. No, I'll sick the dog on him. I'll let the cat shed hair all over his ice cream. No. Oh, goodness. That would really be bad. That'd be bad. That's one of those things. You don't put ice cream in the singing bowl. Water, crystals, candles. I can get all that, but not ice cream. I wouldn't even put coffee in my singing bowl. That's really setting the bar for anybody. So, so the first part of the show, talking about these archetypes in paganism, contemporary paganism. There's 22 of them. They're kind of basically they're the stereotypes, the archetypes, and it's just they're just people, just like the rest of us. They're just people. They put their socks on 1 foot at a time, just like everybody else, or their flip-flops, whatever shoes you choose. And often, we forget that it takes all kinds to make the world go round. And regardless of where someone comes from or where they're going, you gotta look at everybody with, some compassion. You don't know what they're going through or dealing with. And even though they do fit into a stereotype, and we've all met them, we've met the stereotypes, just in life, kind of a little slack right about now. It's okay. Cut everybody some slack. Let go of the anger and the frustration. So, yes. And yeah, born Born again pagans. Love it, naysay. I love being a born again pagan. Best way to be. So, first part of the show, we had the fun with the archetypes, the new archetypes. So, talk a little bit about the 12 Jungian archetypes a bit, and the shadow ones also, because they are important. So with the different ego types, I've got a list here, and I'll go into it. So the first one is the innocent. Generally, the innocent's like free to be you or free to be me. They just want to get from here to the end and have a good time with it, and be happy. And their biggest fear is to be punished for doing something bad or something wrong. And so they really just want to do things right. And they can often be very naive and very innocent. That's why they're called the innocent. But they're also very optimistic. So they are looking on the bright side of things. They're always looking on the sunny side. And yeah, sure, okay, they're going to be naive. They may be traditionalist. Sorry, that's a bigger word. Often romantic or a dreamer. But their faith and their optimism are really, truly a strength. And we need to remember that even though these people are often really innocent and often really naive and just kind of floating through life, happy-go-lucky, we need them. We need that faith. We need that optimism. We need that romantic, the dreaming and the just trying to be the positive people. We need more positivity. That's just all there is to it. And I was just thinking about Dawn with this pink eye. Oh man, my eye itches. Holy cow. So the next traditional archetype is the Everyman. And the Everyman has the motto that all men and women are created equal, period, end of sentence. And their biggest desire is just to connect to others and to belong. And there's nothing wrong with a desire to connect to others and to belong to a group. And their biggest fear, though, is to be left out or to stand out from the crowd. So these are the people that are going to kind of conform a bit more and not take that step up onto the soapbox as much. Often they're going to have the very solid virtues. They'll be down to earth. They sometimes be a little touchy-feely, just want to be around other people. But the weakness that the Everyman would have, and this is a kind of a big deal, is they lose their own self in an effort to blend in or for the sake of superficial relationships. And we often do some of this, all of us do a little bit of this, because we want to conform, we want to fit in, we want to be accepted. And we need to remember, though, you cannot subsume your entirety of yourself into a relationship just to fit in. And once you lose yourself, it's hard to come back. And the Everyman is also known as the good old boy, that regular guy or girl, the person next door. Often also the realist and the working stiff, the citizen, the good citizen, the solid citizen, the pillar of the community, but also the good neighbor. And a phrase that's very common in our world right now is the silent majority. But yeah, this is the person you want as your next door neighbor. Because, yeah, they're going to have the tools to help you out. Number 3, the hero. The hero is very much where there's a will, there's a way. We're going to make it happen. And they will often try to prove their worth through courageous acts. Not necessarily physically courageous, but sometimes emotionally or mentally or publicly courageous acts, doing things outside of their comfort zone. And they're often trying to develop a mastery in something that helps improve the world. So in a way, those who join or go to college to become doctors because they really want to help people, that's a hero. Or they join the military because they want to help protect their families, or they go into emergency services and become a fireman or an EMT, or law enforcement because they really want to be there for their community. That's a hero. That is someone we need to remember is just a hero, and we need to recognize that. And their greatest fear is weakness or vulnerability. And so for the hero, often it is hard to be vulnerable, especially with their significant other. The strategy that they implement generally all the time is to be just as strong and as competent as possible. And in some ways, that puts up walls around them to protect their vulnerabilities. They just, nope, I do this thing no matter what. I can do it. I got it. And sometimes that's a weakness because they're always looking for another battle or another hurdle to overcome. They're often arrogant. That's why a lot of people have a problem with, say, law enforcement, for example, because they come across as arrogant, even though that's not what they're trying to do. But they're often very, very competent at what they do and very, very courageous. So the hero is also known as the warrior or the crusader, the rescuer, the superhero, the soldier, the dragon slayer, the winner, and also the team player. Team players. Yeah, those are heroes. Those are the people who, kind of bind a team together. Number 4 is the caregiver. Their motto is love your neighbor as yourself. And their desire is to protect and care for others. This is the one that you want in your corner when you get sick, because they'll be there to help take care of you. Or if there's something wrong, they're going to be trying to figure out how to help it. So these are the folks that are going to be, again, often in the medical field, not necessarily as doctors, but as nurses, as respite care workers. It could be daycare people. They're there to help care for others. They often have, they're just really big on doing things for others. But the fear there is selfishness and ingratitude. So if they're doing something to help you out and you just treat them like you deserve that to happen, then they're not as receptive to that. Let's see. But the weakness, often they're exploited and they're prone to martyrdom because they take on so many things to try to help others around them that they forget to stop and take care of themselves. They're often very, very compassionate towards others. And very generous and in trying to help others. And the caregiver is often known as the saint, the altruist, the parent, the helper, and the supporter. So yeah, the caregiver is a big deal when it comes to, who do you want in your community? Soul types would be like the explorer. The explorer is definitely one of those, don't fence me in, back off. My space, go away. Because they need the freedom to find out who they are by exploring the world around them. And often this is one that is harder to let loose of and allow them to do. Seriously. Because, they just need to be able to go out and experience a better, more authentic and fulfilling way of life. These are going to be your explorers, the ones who join the Peace Corps, because they really want to help people, not because they want something to look good on their resume. Biggest fear, getting trapped, having to conform, and inner emptiness. So they just, cubicle world, basically. Which I wouldn't want to be stuck in a cubicle. I've tried that. Been there, done that. Have the secretary butt to prove it. I'm kidding. No, I do. No. Yes. Anyways, no, it's being trapped. Nobody wants to feel trapped. But they're, instead of saying, "Hey, no, I don't want to be trapped," that's a fear for them. That's like a paranoia almost. And so when it comes to like relationships, for instance, that if they feel trapped within a relationship, especially if someone who's kind of sucking the life out of them a little bit, they're gonna run. That's just all there is to it. Their strategy, journeying, seeking, and experiencing new things, trying to constantly escape boredom. These might actually be your adrenaline junkies. They're very autonomous. They have ambition to achieve great things, and they're very, very true to themselves. Very true to themselves. So the explorer is also known as the seeker, the iconoclast, the wanderer, the individualist, and the pilgrim. Next on the list is the rebel. For the rebel, rules are just made to be broken. Period. End of sentence. You made a rule? I'm going to break it. I don't care what happens. They are often seeking revenge or trying to create a situation for revolution. Here in the U.S., seeing a lot of the rebel types right now. Interesting world we live in. Yep. And the goal, they just want to get rid of what doesn't work. So sometimes when it comes to revolution, it's not like, hey, we're going to get rid of the whole system and start over from scratch. No, they're just like, this thing isn't working. The rest of it works. Can we just fix this one thing? And so they can really target in on that one thing. But their greatest fear is to be powerless, ineffectual. Nothing they say matters. These are the ones that say have stopped, like here in the U.S., voting because, it doesn't matter. My vote doesn't count. I give up. Well, at one point, they were a little bit more rebellious before they got to that apathy stage. Their strategy, they want to disrupt the status quo. They sometimes want to destroy a way of life or a thing to create change or an atmosphere for change. Sometimes they use shocking behaviors and activities. Not necessarily that something that we need, though. You don't have to shock us into change, guys. Really, truly. They're very, very outrageous, extroverted. Just not always extroverted, but often extroverted. And just really, really that radicalized freedom. But weakness, yeah. They have talent for being converted into crime or, becoming a victim of the dark side, if you will. Instead of trying to make change or do things for the good of the community, they kind of get to the point where they're just trying to make change just for the sake of making change. And yeah, we don't need that. The outlaw is also known as the rebel, a revolutionary, wild man, the misfit, or the iconoclast. And next one on the list, number 7, is the lover. And the lover is has a motto: you're the only one. Core desires intimacy and experience, and goals of being in a relationship with people, and having a job they enjoy, and being surrounded by things that they love. It could be their home, it could be their stuff, it could be a place, it could be their family, or people, or pets. The things that they love. So when I say lover, it's not necessarily someone who's actively seeking affection. This is someone who is seeking love. The biggest fear, though, is being alone or becoming unwanted or unloved, fading into the background and no longer being noticed, a wallflower, if you will. So, sometimes they have a strategy of becoming more physically or emotionally attractive. So the lover often will do things to make themselves physically attractive, or and the other word, be more emotionally or mentally attractive. So maybe they're more in touch with their emotions, or able to do things that help them fit into other groups. So they are not just like, hey, yeah, I'm a cheerleader. That's all I am. A cheerleader. Cheerleader, not doing anything else. Maybe instead they decide to be a cheerleader, basketball player, football player, soccer player, volleyball player, a swim team, band geek, all these other things, because they want to be accepted by those other groups too. Weaknesses, they may just have this huge outward directed desire to please others to the point where they lose their sense of self. And that loss of sense of self can often take the lover into a place they don't want to go. Instead of being a lover, sometimes you become a hater. Yes, Chris, you could be a mixture of several of these. These are just the archetypes. And yes, we are a mix of all of these things. And you're going to relate to quite a few of these different archetypes, because they're a standardization of stereotypes. They're the boxes that people try to put us into, if you will. Let's see. Lovers have a talent for passion, gratitude, appreciation, commitment. These are the ones, honestly, these are the people that make great bosses, because they appreciate the work that you do and your commitment to your job, and or maybe your passion for your job, because they get it, and they understand what you're trying to do. The lover is also known as the partner, the friend, intimate, enthusiast, sensualist, spouse, or team builder. So this is someone who is really good for morale. The keeping everybody kind of, the affirmations of positivity. Like, hey, you're doing a great job. Hey, you've really come a long way. Hey, you've really accomplished a lot. Or hey, whatever it is. These are the people handing out the gold stars. Excuse me. Number 8, the creator or the artist. So the motto of this particular individual has one, is if you can imagine it, it can be done. Maybe they have a core desire to create things of enduring value. So these are the ones that your sculptors, your painters, your engineers, your builders, your construction guys. Good night, Lucky. Thank you for joining. Their goal, they want to make sure they're realizing a vision. So they, whatever it is they're trying to create, they want to make sure they're creating it and doing this thing and getting it done. So I met an individual yesterday. He makes furniture and jewelry and such, and he's self-taught, and he just will have this idea in his brain, and he sits down and figures out how to make whatever it is he's trying to make, and it's just, he's trying to realize that vision of himself and as an artist, as a creator, and he does really great work. So a creator's greatest fear, though, is a mediocre vision or execution. So imagine that you design a building, and it's supposed to be fantastic. It's supposed to be shiny and glass and high-end materials and just top-of-the-line everything. And then the builder uses subpar materials and just puts like fresh paint. And so the creator has this really great vision, but the concept is failed because somebody else didn't follow through. Let's see. Hey Marie, have a lovely day, my dear, and find your happy place and have some chocolate. Chocolate's good for you. It'll cheer you up. So the strategy that a creator often will use to keep their fears from happening is develop artistic control or greater skill. Sometimes they'll branch out. So if say someone designs a building and they want it to, look a certain way. Not only will they design it, but they're very, very invested and involved in the actual construction of it, for instance. Or, someone who's a sculptor will be, hey, I've sculpted this thing and I want to make sure that it goes, the casting for like bronze sculptures and such. It's something that's created out of clay, and then it's cast and into create a mold, and then from there the bronze is put into the mold, and they're available every step of the way to make sure that all of the resulting statues or works of art meet their standards. So yeah, that very very much that artistic control. And we're going to our last break. We'll be right back and we'll finish up with the creator. Oh my gosh, this night's is just flying. I'm telling you.
Sisters of the shining moon, heaven, earth, and sea, I call upon you in this hour, bring magic to me. brothers, oh, the cauldron cries, it singeth unto me the songs of Mother Goddess and of Father in the tree.
Hello, my lovelies. This is Paisley Wild, and we're off adventuring into these spaces between. And tonight we've been talking about archetypes, because we see them in our world all the time. And sometimes we don't, not just out in the world, but in our own selves. And this isn't because, and I'm not going over these because, hey, you know, everybody's an archetype and everybody fits into this one particular stereotype or another. But sometimes, you know, it's good to sit back and look at the different aspects of the archetypes, excuse me, not just for the strengths, but also for the weaknesses. Because if we are, for instance, you know, the lover is someone who has a tendency to lose themselves in a relationship, if that's something we do, by golly, that's something we can work on to help protect ourselves so we don't lose who we are in a relationship, because who wants that, you know? You don't want to lose who you are in a relationship. That's why if a relationship ends, you should take a break. Don't bounce off to the next relationship right away. You need to learn who you are again by yourself before you go do that. Just, you know, free relationship advice. That's all. So we were before the break. We were talking about the artist or the creator, and they, you know, they're going to try their very, very darndest to have artistic control and just grow in their skill set to make sure that they are just doing the best they can. Hold on, and before I continue on. And Naysay is on the air. Hey, Naysay. What's new in your world? Are you there?
Oh, boy. What a loaded question.
Right? It's an adventure.
Absolutely. So how's my favorite witch doing this evening?
I'm doing fantabulous. Actually, no, I'm doing pretty okay. A little tired, but, you know, I'm seeing that a lot from people tonight, or just this weekend in general. So there's a lot of people just kind of feeling wiped out, like universal exhaustion.
Yeah, that could be a total show in itself with the whole full moon last week and the whole rhetoric of what's going on and the emotional roller coaster we've been on as a country.
Yeah, right.
But I wanted to chime in a little bit with that wonderful ice cream bowl of Don's.
Yep.
You know, he probably has already done it. I would be willing to make a bet that if you held the wire to him and said, "Hey, have you ate ice cream out of my singing bowl when I'm gone?" I would at least put 13 cents on that. But you know how I talk a lot, the archetype, and I talk about circles. Well, if you draw a circle and you think of it like a clock, and you think of all of these archetypes, because if we are in the center of that circle, looking around at all of these different archetypes, like Chris said earlier wrote in the chat earlier, which why I called, was how we can reflect on these archetypes within ourselves. And this is a wonderful opportunity to take that opportunity to reflect the mirror.
Yes.
And see possibly where we, you know, have these traits, because they could be considered positive, neutral, or negative.
Yeah.
But until we take that reflection, how do we know?
Right. Yeah, and sometimes we might assume something is positive, but the reality is it's more neutral, or we might think something's more neutral and it's more negative. And it's not just our perspective, it's also the other people's perspective of what we're doing and how we act. Because we might think, yeah, no, this is totally normal behavior. There's nothing wrong with this. Well, sometimes you just need to check your ego. because now you're...
Well, that is another...
Yeah?
I'm sorry, there's a slight lag. But the challenge I think that I'm witnessing or experiencing nowadays is we have become so fearful of what others' opinions are of us that when something negative occurs, which is shared with another entity, we're afraid to say, hey, can you elaborate on what you said because I'm taking it negatively? But instead it comes out like, you voted red and you voted blue and you drink Pepsi and Coke, where the buzzwords and the triggers are used, so frequently. It's hard to ponder, like, is this person going to explode on me? Or can I have a positive conversation and shared that I felt hurt? Or, because there's nothing wrong with feelings or believing or thinking. What's wrong is when you don't share it and it causes you not to move forward yourself, I would assume.
Yeah. Yeah, if you shut yourself down and all you do is have the ego defense saying, hey, I can't accept this change, or I can't accept your viewpoint as valid or your opinion as valid, you're blocking yourself from growing and understanding the world around you. And you're limiting yourself as to what you can experience. And I really wish more people understood that more. Because we can only be who we are, as in who we've learned how to be, and that's, we have to be accepted for that. We can't make someone change just because you don't like something about them.
And I'm not quite sure, to think, feel, and believe that just like myself, that when somebody else is having conversation with me, that I'm not being negative about it. Even when we get into those, when we get more and more acquainted with somebody and we're more familiar with them and we're more opening of our circle or our sphere, and then we start teasing each other or jabbing each other, metaphorically with words, where we have kind of playful banter, and it's not mean. You understand where I'm coming from?
Yeah, and you're not, the playful banter isn't to be or insulting, because there's playful banter and then there's insulting banter, and they're two different things. And it seems like sometimes people assume that the insulting banter is just playful, but it's not. It's hurtful because you're insulting someone. It's like...
Right. But then that's when we need to, hold our miracleness and be like, hey, that hurt. Or, I thought that came negative, because sometimes we tend to assume, and we make those assumptions that this person is trying to hurt us, but the best way to find out is just to ask. Because there's nothing worse when you muddle over it, you think about it for weeks and weeks and weeks, and then you say something to somebody about it, and then you find out that they were like, oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I this, that, or the other thing, but they come out with that, I'm sorry, and then we can start anew. We can start fresh.
Exactly.
And it starts that simple. Just.
It's the, like, one of the problems with texting or instant messaging is it's very two-dimensional. So you might be having a conversation with another person and the words you're saying make sense to you because you're hearing them in your own voice, but the other person is hearing those same words in their voice, and they're through their lens of experience. And so sometimes it may sound like really normal stuff to you, but to them it may be insulting, and they may get upset, and they may obsess over it for a couple weeks before they say, hey, you said this thing and it really ticked me off, and they're like, whoa, that's not what I meant. That's the downside with that two-dimensional conversation, is there's a lot of emotion and body language and inflection in our voice just doesn't transfer via text. It just doesn't. So
yeah, and that's a new experience that I had to go through and learn when I lost my sight, because now I don't get those nuances of body language, just the whole facet of a conversation. All I go by is words, and sometimes in the inflection of the words, and sometimes I can hear when a person's voice goes higher or lower.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really interesting, because then when you call people on their words, and then all of a sudden it's like, well, that's not what I meant. And I said, well, I'm sorry, but those are the words you told me.
Right.
So,
Exactly. Yeah, we have to be mindful of the words we use, because you gotta say what you mean and mean what you say. Yeah, you're absolutely right, Naysay. Absolutely right.
well, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to share, because I care, and we have a wonderful evening. And I think it's, is it next week, on Friday the 13th, the 14th? Isn't the 14th new moon? Or is it the 13th?
I think it's the 14th,
Ooh.
but yeah, we do have Friday the 13th coming up. So yes. Actually, I don't have a problem with Friday the 13th.
Yay.
13's an okay number.
Not at all.
Just interpretation.
It's my daughter's. It's my favorite birth recognition date for my daughters, because that's when I buy them all of those tools of divinations, like rune stones and dowsing rods and tarot decks. And of course, the ultimate divination tool is the magic 8-ball.
Oh, there you go. Hey, that magic 8-ball sometimes tells more truth than we give it credit for. Lucid says, nope, new moon is on the 13th. So, yep, Friday the 13th is a new moon.
It is the 13th.
Yep.
Ooh.
Yep.
Yay. It just adds to it all.
Right.
All right, Paisley, you have a beautiful day.
All right, you as well, my dear. Thank you for calling in.
Your show is at night, right?
Yeah, it's at night. It feels like daytime sometimes.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
Yeah.
Heck, if I know, it's always dark in my world, except with your light. Toodles.
Thank you, Naysay. We'll see you later. So, yeah, we really do have to be mindful of what we're saying, because, interpretation really is a big deal when it comes to the meaning of what's being said or what's being done. So, let's see. We had finished up with the creator archetype, number 8, on to number 9, the Jester. So the Jester's motto is, you only live once. These are your YOLO. There, see, I'm hip to the jive. You only live once. The core desire, you live in the moment with full enjoyment. So they just want to have a great time and lighten the world. These are kind of the love and light people, because they're bringing love and light to you. Not because that's what's their message, but that's what they do. That's who they are. The greatest fear, being bored or boring others. So these are the folks that are going to be making jokes, trying to be funny all the time, playing. And they're going to hate wasting time, honestly, and frivolity. There's sometimes they're going to get too involved in that wasting of time and the frivolity, and just it sucks them down, even though they're doing it and enforcing it and having a good time with it. it'll suck them in and they'll forget how to come out of it also. But their biggest things, they're just bringing joy to the world. And you know what? We need more jesters right now. We need more joy in the world. So the jester is also known as the fool, the trickster, the joker, the practical joker, or the comedian. But yeah, we need more jesters right now. Number 10 is the sage. And the motto here is the truth will set you free. And just their biggest desire, they want to find the truth. And they're going to want to use intelligence and analysis to understand the world. Oh, hold, please. Let's see. We're just going to report. There we go. Yeah. Not sure what's going on there, but yeah. Sorry, just I got a troll. Gotta love the troll. So yeah, the sage. Truth's gonna set you free. Trolls. They just they're these are the smart people. These are your Gandalfs. Honestly. Their biggest fear, though, is ignorance. They're going to be studying and researching and learning as much as they can. They're going to really be upset about being duped or misled. So they may not always get along well with the jester. There's going to be some friction there. But they need that humor. Because they do. There you go, Bomber. But yeah, they're going to be seeking that knowledge, the information, self-reflection, understanding. They're going to be thinking and doing, not so much doing all the time, but thinking and learning is their big strong points. Because their weaknesses, sometimes they get so wrapped up in the details that they forget to actually take a step and move forward. But these are the smart people, the intelligent people, the ones that know the things that you need to have in your world. And we all need a few more of those too, by golly. And the sage is also known as the expert, the scholar, the detective, the advisor, thinker, philosopher, the academic, the researcher. Need more researchers. Thinker, planner, professional, mentors, teachers. Yeah. Need more teachers. The magician is the next one. Lucid, you're awesome. Magician. That's who makes things happen. Yeah. A Bomber, I'm not sure about that. So Bomber goes, which bridge burned down that all the trolls are coming out of the woodwork? They're everywhere tonight. Yeah, well, I have not had that much language and potty mouth stuff since, the last time I stubbed my toe. Goodness. So those are all held for review. And no, we don't need that. Well, this is not the home you seek, guys. Trolls can move on. So yes, the magician. Hey, they're the ones who make things happen. And not just magic with a K, but, the magician, the doers here. And biggest desire, understand the fundamental laws of the universe. They get it. They want to know the things so they can do the things. Because they want to make dreams come true. Biggest fear is the unintended negative consequences. And, When we do things, we need to remember the law of unintended consequences because, for every thing that we do, there's like 10 potential positive things potential things that could happen that we can plot out, right? Often, there's another 10 things that we forget to think about. Sometimes those are the potential negatives. And we need to be aware of those so we don't... make a choice, make that left turn when we should have made a right turn, because we weren't sure what the consequences were. Magician's biggest strategy: develop a vision and live by it. And so these, y'all know what you're doing. But a weakness there is becoming manipulative. So you need to be aware of the things you're doing to make sure that you're not manipulating people intentionally or even accidentally. But you're really good at finding those win-win situations. So these are your mediators, honestly. You need these folks. Because, we need those win-win solutions right now for everyone. We really, really do. The magician is known as the visionary, the catalyst, the inventor, charismatic leaders, shaman, healer, medicine man, medicine woman. The folks that are bringing those together, bringing you together and just fixing things. Which, I gotta tell you, we need a little bit of magic right now to fix some stuff. Number 12 on the list of Jungian archetypes is the ruler. Motto here: power isn't everything, it's just the only thing. And the biggest desire here is control. And the goal is to create a prosperous, successful family or community by exercising power. And you know what? We need rulers in our lives, but we need to make sure that they're not being authoritarian, because that's a big weakness, and being unable to delegate. Because often people in charge have a hard time delegating things because they're afraid of losing that control. Because chaos is a big fear. Being overthrown can be a big fear. But at the same time, they're able to take responsibility for what has to get done, and they're willing to step up to the plate and lead others to down the path to get the stuff done. So let's see. Looking here, Bomber says that she stood up for an elder gentleman earlier who was being attacked in a chat room by throwing the troll a Snickers and telling him to eat it. He came at me there and then again in the portal. Goodness gracious. Yeah, gotta tell you, those trolls out there, I don't know what they're on, but they need to take a break. It's just bad. Wow. Yeah, be careful of those trolls. Don't let the trolls suck you in. They will do that. So the ruler, yes, we need people who are willing to step up and take responsibility, and being able to lead us forward to achieve the best that we can. Unfortunately, we're going to need magicians to make that happen. Oh my gosh. And people to communicate. Yeah, we need all the stuff. We need the peeps. So the Carl Jungian 12 basic archetypes. Again, just to review: the ruler, the creator or artist, the sage, the innocent, the explorer, the rebel, the hero, the wizard or magician, the jester, the everyman, the lover, and the caregiver. And those are really, really good. And we are a combination of all of those things. Some of us are stronger in different categories than others. That's why there's so many personality profile tests out there, because we want to know where we fit in the world of architects. Are we the sage? Are we the creator? Are we the jester, the wizard, the hero, the everyman, the caregiver? Where are we? What are our strengths? And we need to remember to play to those strengths. We need to acknowledge our weaknesses so we know what they are, so we can work on them and turn those weaknesses into strengths. Because if you know what your weakness is, it stops being a weakness. It really does. It stops being a hindrance or a way to bring you down or to hold you back. If you know what your weaknesses are, it helps you go forward. Nightshade says, don't allow the troll's karma, or don't make the troll's karma yours. Yes, absolutely. Trolls are building their own karma debt, and they can pay that bill later. I don't want it. So let the trolls roll on by. Let the trolls stroll on by. Yeah, something like that. So yeah, you know, got a lot of stuff going on in the world today. Remember to ground out that negative energy. Do the cleansing rituals to rid yourself of the negativity. Sage your space. Whatever you have to do to find the peace within, so that we can, just accept life, grow from our experiences, and move forward. Don't let what's going on in our world today hold you back and define you, and allow yourself to become a victim of current events. Just remember, this will be a pass-fail question on somebody's history test in the near future. So, deep cleansing breath. Thanks for joining this weekend. Merry meet and merry part and merry meet again. Thank you guys for joining, and have a lovely day.
So mote it be the spell forever done.